The transformative potential of AGI on global GDP growth, insights from The Economist. Introduction. The advent of artificial general intelligence AGI heralds a new era in economic growth potential according to a recent report by The Economist. This report posits that AGI could dramatically increase global GDP growth from the current average of approximately 3% per year to an extraordinary 20% annually. This transformative potential arises from advancements in AI technology, particularly through the automation of tasks and the resultant efficiency gains in production and research. Historical context of economic growth. Historically, the trajectory of global economic growth has been modest. Until around 1700, the global economy stagnated with an average growth rate of merely 0.1% per year. This sluggish pace meant that it would take nearly a millennium for production levels to double. However, the introduction of mechanized production methods during the Industrial Revolution catalyzed a significant shift. Between 1700 and 1820, global growth quintupled to 0.5% annually, and by the end of the 19th century it reached approximately 1.9%. The 20th century saw an average growth rate of about 2.8%, indicating a gradual acceleration in productivity and output as technological advancements took hold. Breaking the growth barrier with AGI. The Economist's report argues that the integration of AGI has the potential to break through the historical growth ceiling. The key to this leap lies in software-driven innovations rather than merely increasing the number of human workers. The report highlights a macro simulation model developed by Epic AI, known as the GATE model, Growth and AI Transition Endogenous model. This model combines traditional economic growth theories with cutting-edge machine learning scaling laws to explore how AGI could reshape economic output. The GATE model, mechanism of growth acceleration. At the heart of the GATE model is the concept of a social planner who decides the allocation of economic output toward reinvestment in technology, including chips, data centers, and AI research. The model outlines a feedback loop that can catalyze exponential growth. 1. Increased computational power. As more computational resources are allocated, larger and more sophisticated AI models can be trained. 2. Task automation. With larger models comes the ability to automate an increasing number of tasks. The simulation indicates that once AI takes over approximately 30% of tasks, a significant shift occurs in productivity. 3. Economic output rise. The introduction of digital workers leads to heightened output, which in turn generates profits. A portion of these profits is reinvested into computational resources, perpetuating the cycle of growth. This feedback loop illustrates how AI can replace human labor effectively, with the report emphasizing that the scalability of energy and chip production allows for continued investment in growth. The model even suggests that AI could autonomously handle its research and development, further accelerating knowledge production alongside economic output. Simulations and future projections. The simulations initiated within the GATE model begin with current global growth rates of around 3%. Initially, little change is observed, however, the dynamics shift dramatically once the automation of tasks reaches the critical threshold of 30%. At this juncture, the model's projections indicate that GDP growth could soar beyond 20% annually. This projection is not merely speculative, it is grounded in the underlying premise that digital labor can be replicated and scaled as easily as deploying additional computing resources, thus mitigating the traditional diminishing returns associated with capital investments. Implications for the economy and society. Should AGI fulfill its potential as indicated by the GATE model, the implications for both the economy and society at large could be profound. A surge in GDP growth could lead to increased investment. Higher economic output would likely result in greater investments in various sectors, particularly in technology and innovation, potentially leading to a self-reinforcing cycle of growth. Labor market transformation. the automation of tasks could disrupt traditional labor markets, necessitating a re-evaluation of workforce skills and roles. Workers may need to transition to more complex roles that require uniquely human skills, such as creativity and emotional intelligence. Wealth redistribution. The benefits of this rapid economic growth could lead to discussions about wealth distribution, as the profits generated by AI-driven productivity gains may not be evenly shared across society. Conclusion. In summary, the Economist's report underscores the transformative potential of AGI in reshaping global economic growth trajectories. The GATE model provides a framework for understanding how advancements in AI technology could facilitate unprecedented increases in productivity and output, pushing GDP growth from a historical average of 3% to potentially 20% annually. While the promise of AGI offers exciting opportunities for economic advancement, it also raises critical questions about labor dynamics, wealth distribution, and the societal implications of such rapid change. The future of economic growth may very well hinge on how effectively societies and economies adapt to the challenges and opportunities presented by AGI. Counterintuitive information in the content includes the following points. 1. Historical growth versus AGI potential. The report highlights that despite machines contributing to output increases since 1700, global GDP growth has remained around 3% annually even during significant industrial advancements. The counterintuitive aspect is the assertion that while historical growth has been limited due to various factors, AGI has the potential to dramatically exceed this limit, suggesting a fundamental shift in economic dynamics that has not been achieved previously. 2. Automation threshold. The model posits that once AI automates 30% of tasks, GDP growth could leap to over 20%. This raises the counterintuitive idea that a relatively small threshold of automation could lead to exponential growth, challenging the notion that substantial investment and incremental changes are necessary for significant economic growth. 3. Perfect substitutability of AI for human labor. The assumption that AI can perfectly substitute for human effort is another counterintuitive concept. Historically, technology has often complemented rather than completely replaced human labor, yet this model suggests a complete transformation where AI could take over roles traditionally held by humans. 4. Investment cycle and diminishing returns. The GATE model suggests that the usual diminishing returns on capital, where increased investment yields progressively smaller increases in output, are nearly absent in the case of AI. This challenges traditional economic theories that state that as more capital is invested, the incremental benefits decrease. 5. AI-driven R&D. The idea that AI could handle its own research and development, accelerating knowledge production alongside economic output, presents a counterintuitive scenario. Traditionally, human ingenuity and labor have driven R&D. Yet the assumption here is that AI could autonomously innovate and enhance its capabilities, leading to a self-reinforcing cycle of growth. 6. Scalability of chips and energy. The model assumes that both energy production and chip manufacturing can scale indefinitely with investment, which contrasts sharply with real-world constraints and challenges faced in these sectors. The expectation that these resources can be infinitely scalable is a significant deviation from traditional economic views that recognize limits to resource availability. These counterintuitive points challenge established economic principles and historical perspectives on growth, presenting a vision of an economy that could operate under fundamentally different rules due to the influence of AGI. The Economist report posits a transformative potential of artificial general intelligence (AGI) in driving global GDP growth from a stable 3% to an extraordinary 20% annually. While the headline may capture immediate attention, several nuanced aspects of the report hold significant implications that could easily be overlooked yet warrant deeper exploration. 1. Historical context of economic growth. The report emphasizes the stagnation of global economic growth prior to 1700, averaging a mere 0.1% annually. The transition to mechanized production methods in the 18th century marked a pivotal shift, increasing growth rates to 0.5% and eventually averaging 2.8% in the 20th century. This historical perspective is crucial as it highlights how technological advancements have historically catalyzed economic growth. Understanding this context makes the potential impact of AGI seem less like a distant possibility and more like a continuation of this transformative trend. The implication is that if AGI can replicate or amplify the effects of past technological revolutions, the predicted growth rates may not only be feasible but also likely. 2. The role of automation at 30% task coverage. The report points to a critical threshold once AI automates 30% of tasks. The GATE model predicts a dramatic leap in GDP growth beyond 20%. This specific point is significant because it highlights a tipping point in productivity that could lead to a cascade of effects in the economy. The focus on this threshold indicates that the initial stages of AI integration may not yield immediate benefits, but once a critical mass of automation is achieved, the feedback loop between AI capabilities and economic output can unleash unprecedented levels of growth. This creates a strategic opportunity for businesses and governments to prepare for and facilitate this transition to avoid potential economic shocks or inequities in the workforce. 3. The GATE model's assumptions on substitutability and scalability. One of the most critical but easily overlooked aspects of the report is the GATE model's assumption that AI can perfectly substitute for human labor and that energy and chip production are scalable with investment. This assumption is significant for several reasons. Substitutability of labor. The idea that AI can seamlessly replace human effort raises profound questions about labor markets, job displacement, and the future of work. If true, this could lead to significant societal shifts, including possible unrest or re-evaluation of work-life balance, and the necessity for robust social safety nets. Scalability of resources. The notion that investments in chips and energy can keep pace with the demands of AI development assumes a level of resource availability and technological advancement that may not be guaranteed. Any disruptions in supply chains for critical components or energy sources could hinder this growth trajectory. 4. The feedback loop of investment and innovation. The report outlines a feedback loop where increased computational power leads to the training of larger models, which in turn automate more tasks. This self-reinforcing cycle is often discussed in economic models but rarely emphasized in discussions about AI. The significance lies in the understanding that as AI becomes more capable, it not only enhances productivity but also generates a compounding effect on investments in AI infrastructure. This could lead to a scenario where businesses that fail to invest in AI may find themselves at a competitive disadvantage, thereby accelerating the concentration of wealth and power in tech-savvy entities. 5. AI's role in research and development. The report suggests that AI could even take on the role of conducting its own research and development, thereby accelerating knowledge production alongside economic output. This point is often glossed over but has profound implications. It suggests a future where AI not only performs tasks but also innovates, potentially leading to breakthroughs at a pace that humans cannot match. The significance of this lies in ethical considerations, accountability in AI-generated research, and the possible emergence of an AI-driven economic ecosystem that could operate independently of traditional human oversight. The potential for AI to drive innovation raises questions about intellectual property, the ownership of AI-generated inventions, and the broader implications for economic competition on a global scale. 6. Societal implications and ethical considerations. While the report focuses heavily on economic metrics, the societal implications of such a drastic shift in growth rates must not be overlooked. The transition to a world where AGI significantly contributes to the economy could exacerbate existing inequalities, particularly if the benefits of growth are not widely shared. Additionally, ethical considerations surrounding AI labor, data privacy, and decision-making algorithms become paramount. As AI systems take on more responsibilities, ensuring they operate within ethical frameworks will be crucial to maintaining public trust and social stability. 7. The role of policy and governance. The concept of a social planner in the GATE model introduces the need for proactive governance in the age of AI. Policymakers will have to navigate the complexities of AI integration into the economy while ensuring equitable distribution of its benefits. This raises significant questions about the role of regulation, the need for adaptive legal frameworks, and international cooperation to address challenges posed by rapid technological advancements. The significance of this aspect cannot be understated, as effective governance will likely determine whether the potential benefits of AGI are realized or if they lead to societal disruptions. Conclusion. The Economist report presents an optimistic view of AGI's potential to revolutionize global economic growth. However, the nuanced implications surrounding labor dynamics, resource scalability, feedback loops, innovation, societal impact, and governance are critical to understanding the full picture. As we stand on the precipice of a technological transformation, addressing these overlooked elements will be essential to navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. The potential for AGI to drive unprecedented economic growth is not solely a matter of technological capability but also one of social responsibility and ethical foresight. Here are 4 valuable points for in-depth analysis and discussion regarding the potential impact of artificial general intelligence (AGI) on global GDP growth as outlined in the content derived from the Economist report. 1. Dramatic shift in economic growth potential. The report posits that AGI could elevate global GDP growth from the current rate of approximately 3% to a staggering 20% annually. This shift is unprecedented in economic history, where growth has been largely incremental and constrained by physical and human labor limitations. A critical discussion point arises from understanding the mechanisms through which AGI can achieve this dramatic increase. Specifically, the GATE model suggests that once AI automates around 30% of tasks, we can expect a significant acceleration in productivity. This raises questions about the nature of economic growth. Is it sustainable? What sectors will benefit the most? And how will this growth be distributed across different economies and social classes? 2. The feedback loop of AI development. The GATE model introduces an interesting feedback loop that connects computational power AI training and task automation. As computational resources increase, larger and more efficient AI models can be trained, leading to further automation and productivity gains. This cycle suggests that the scalability of AI technologies could lead to diminishing returns being less pronounced than in traditional economic models. The analysis of this feedback loop could delve into the dependency on hardware advancements, the potential bottlenecks in chip production, and whether the rapid pace of AI development could lead to ethical concerns, especially regarding job displacements and income inequality. 3. Assumptions about task automation and substitution. A significant assumption within the GATE model is that AI can completely substitute for human labor across a wide range of tasks. This assumption needs critical evaluation, particularly in terms of the types of jobs that may be automated and the societal implications of such changes. While AI might excel at repetitive data-driven tasks, the question remains whether it can effectively replace human intuition, creativity, and emotional intelligence in more complex roles. Analyzing the implications of this assumption could lead to discussions about the future of work, the need for reskilling, and the societal adjustments required to accommodate a workforce that may be increasingly displaced by technology. 4. Investment and reinvestment dynamics. The model emphasizes the role of a social planner who determines how much of the economic output should be reinvested into technology, data centers, and AI research. This introduces a critical discussion on the importance of investment strategies in maximizing the benefits of AGI. It also raises questions about who gets to decide these investment levels and what policies should be in place to ensure that the benefits of AGI are equitably distributed. Furthermore, the implications of such reinvestment strategies on economic structures, innovation ecosystems, and global competitiveness warrant thorough examination. How should governments, businesses, and societies prepare for this potential economic transformation? And what regulatory frameworks might be necessary to guide ethical AI development and its integration into the economy. In summary, these 4 points underscore the transformative potential of AGI in economic growth while also inviting in-depth discussions on the challenges, ethical considerations, and societal changes that may accompany this shift. Here are 3 famous historical cases that illustrate transformative technological advancements leading to significant economic growth similar to the predicted impacts of AGI on global GDP. 1. The Industrial Revolution, 18th to 19th century. The Industrial Revolution marked a pivotal point in history beginning in the late 18th century, particularly in Britain, and later spreading to other parts of the world. It was characterized by a shift from agrarian economies to industrialized ones facilitated by innovations such as the steam engine, mechanized textile production, and improved iron-making techniques. This period saw significant productivity increases as machines took over tasks previously done by hand. The introduction of factories centralized production, leading to economies of scale and a dramatic rise in output. By the 19th century, the average growth rate of global GDP had increased from about 0.5% to nearly 1.9% annually, setting the stage for modern economic growth patterns. The Industrial Revolution fundamentally altered social structures, labor markets, and living standards, with technology driving unprecedented economic expansion. 2. The Information Technology Revolution, late 20th century. The late 20th century witnessed another transformative era known as the Information Technology Revolution, which emerged with the advent of personal computers, the Internet, and mobile technologies. This revolution changed the landscape of communication, business operations, and data processing. The proliferation of software and digital tools made information more accessible and enabled new business models, such as e-commerce and digital services. The growth of the tech sector contributed to a significant increase in productivity across various industries, leading to GDP growth rates that often exceeded the historical average. For example, during the 1990s, the U.S. economy experienced robust growth, with GDP growth reaching over 4% in certain years, largely attributed to the integration of IT into everyday business practices. This period not only reshaped the economy but also spurred innovation in sectors ranging from finance to education, influencing global markets. 3. The Green Revolution, mid-20th century. The Green Revolution refers to a series of research, development, and technology transfer initiatives that occurred between the 1940s and the late 1960s, aimed at increasing agricultural production worldwide, particularly in developing countries. Key innovations included the introduction of high-yielding variety HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers, and advanced irrigation techniques. Countries like India and Mexico saw dramatic increases in crop yields, leading to enhanced food security and reduced famine risks. This agricultural transformation significantly contributed to economic growth in these nations, enabling them to support larger populations and improve living standards. The Green Revolution is often credited with averting mass starvation in regions where population growth outpaced food production. The economic implications were profound, as increased agricultural productivity allowed for greater labor specialization and urban migration, further stimulating industrial growth and economic diversification. These historical cases underscore the potential of technological advancements to catalyze significant economic growth, paralleling the expectations surrounding AGI's impact on global GDP as outlined in the recent report by The Economist. Each of these revolutions demonstrates how innovations can reshape economies, enhance productivity, and ultimately alter the course of history. The future outlook for global economic growth, particularly in relation to the advent of artificial general intelligence (AGI), suggests a transformative shift in productivity and output that could redefine economic structures. According to a report from The Economist, AGI could potentially elevate global GDP growth from the current rate of around 3% to an astonishing 20% annually. This projection hinges on the premise that software-driven solutions, rather than merely increasing human labor, will drive future productivity gains. Historically, since 1700, the world has witnessed intermittent growth phases, with the Industrial Revolution marking a significant but gradual increase in output. Despite advancements, growth rates have largely remained below 3% per year. The introduction of AGI, particularly once it automates around 30% of tasks, is predicted to trigger a paradigm shift wherein profits reinvest into technology, specifically chips and research, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of growth. Central to this optimistic forecast is the Gate Growth and AI Transition Endogenous model developed by Epic AI. This model intricately combines traditional economic growth theories with contemporary machine learning scaling laws. It introduces the concept of a social planner who allocates a portion of annual economic output back into technological advancements. This feedback loop posits that increased computational power enables the training of larger AI models which can automate a greater number of tasks. As a result, productivity rises, leading to further investments in computational resources, which in turn yield even more advanced models. The simulations from the Gate model indicate that once automation reaches the critical threshold of 30%, GDP growth rates could soar beyond 20% annually. This would mark a significant departure from historical growth patterns and could herald a new era of economic dynamism. The model also assumes that AI can effectively replace human labor and that investments in energy and chips can scale with demand, allowing for continuous advancements in AI capabilities. Furthermore, the implications of such rapid growth extend beyond mere numbers. If AGI can facilitate a substantial increase in output and efficiency, it would likely disrupt existing markets for goods, services, and financial assets. The labor market would also face significant upheaval as traditional roles are automated, necessitating a re-evaluation of workforce dynamics and skill sets. In summary, the integration of AGI into the global economy holds the potential for exponential growth driven by automation and reinvestment in technology. This transformative change could redefine economic trajectories, challenging existing paradigms and fostering a future where productivity gains are not only sustainable but unprecedented. As we stand on the brink of this technological revolution, the focus will need to be on managing the transition and ensuring that the benefits of such growth are equitably distributed across society.